I wanted to put together this video quickly to share a couple of thoughts that I have on how to use red door tests, what they are, and a unique approach that you can take that can make them really handy. A red door test basically allows you to gather quantitative validation data about a feature and its usage before you even build it out. Now, important thing to keep in mind is you need to do proper discovery first. You need to validate that you have a problem worth solving and a solution worth building. And this is an extra feather in the cap of figuring out that solution worth building. You've already talked to your users, your 6 to 8 customer interviews, you've understood the problem space, you've validated the solution space, and now you want to really add a quantitative layer to go, okay, on top of this 6 to 8 customers, what about these other users that are already within our platform? This is a really powerful tool if you've got a big enough user base to be able to get some signal out of that data. If you're in the early stages, you've got 10, 20 users, you might as well talk to all 10 or 20 users. Anyway, rather than building out a whole room, you're just going to install the door. It's going to be red door, and you're going to keep track of how many people and who knock at that door, because that's going to signal that they want to go into the room. So in the case of a product, what that's going to be is you're going to put the call to action, the menu item, the button right there in the platform as if the feature was fully built out, and then you're going to see who clicks it. The two things you want to keep in mind here. One is you're really exposing yourself to the bias of how good is the user experience of that call to action. If you've got that call to action poorly labeled, buried away somewhere, then you're not going to get a very good read or a very good signal about the quality of the solution. You don't want to let that throw you off. Make sure you do a good job of thinking through where you want to put it within the platform, and keep that consideration in mind when you're evaluating the data. The second thing you want to keep in mind is you want to provide context to your users. Don't put a button in there that just breaks and goes nowhere. You want to give them that message and say, hey, this feature's coming soon. We haven't built it yet, and we'll make sure that we let you know when it's released. And maybe even here's an email address to send us feedback and thoughts. So that's a red door test. Now, the extra pro tip that I want to share is there's another really cool way to use this technique in reverse. What you're going to do is, rather than going through all the work of removing a feature, you just remove the door. So if you've got a part of your product that you're thinking about decommissioning, what about you just take away the button? Much, much easier. It's just a small change in CSS, button's not there anymore, and see if people complain. This works really well when there's multiple ways of doing things. You've got different routes, different ways to achieve a given task, and one of them just gets used way less and is cluttering up the experience. So what you want to do is you want to rip that out and see if anybody complains. It's a really easy way to test things out, and it's a really good way to settle a debate with different stakeholders about whether something is a good idea or not. Let's test out just taking it out. It's instant to reverse. We just revert the PR and away we go. Reverse red door test, really helpful tool when it comes to the later stages of validating you've got a solution worth building. Try it out. I hope it's useful.